History is often viewed as a collection of dates, facts, and events, a static record of what has already happened. However, when we look deeper, we begin to realize that history speaks to us in ways far more profound than simple narration. It communicates lessons, warnings, triumphs, and tragedies, urging us to reflect on the present and to better understand the forces that shape the future. The phrase "history speaks" holds a depth of meaning that resonates far beyond its simplicity, inviting us to engage with the past in a way that can guide our actions today and in the days to come. One of the most compelling aspects of history is its ability to teach. The struggles, achievements, and experiences of those who came before us provide us with invaluable insights into the human condition. These lessons, passed down through generations, allow us to better understand ourselves, our society, and the world in which we live. History speaks to us about our shared humanity. It reminds us of our capacity for both great kindness and profound cruelty. It tells us of our resilience and our vulnerability, showing us the potential for both progress and destruction. As we look back in time, we can hear the voices of ancient civilizations, from the Egyptians to the Greeks, from the Romans to the Chinese, who built empires that spanned continents and left legacies that continue to influence us today. These voices speak to us of ambition, innovation, and the pursuit of knowledge. These voices speak to us of ambition, innovation, and pursuit. Innovation, the growth of innovation. The stories of these civilizations are not just tales of kings and queens, battles and victories, but also of the everyday lives of people, their hopes, dreams, and struggles. Through history, we hear the voices of the oppressed and marginalized. We hear the stories of those who were silenced by tyranny, who fought for their rights and freedoms, whose efforts may have been forgotten or overlooked in their time, but have been resurrected in ours. These voices remind us of the importance of justice, equality, and the inherent dignity of all human beings. History speaks to us through the struggles for civil rights, for the abolition of slavery, for gender equality, and for the rights of indigenous peoples. It urges us to continue the work of those who fought for a more just and equitable world, to recognize the injustices that persist, and to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. But history does not simply tell us what has happened. It also shapes who we are. Our understanding of the past helps to form our identities, our beliefs, and our values. It shapes the narratives that we tell about ourselves as individuals and as nations. The way we interpret history is influenced by the lens through which we view it. Our culture, our upbringing, and our personal experiences all color the stories we tell about the past. In this way, history is not only a reflection of what has been, but also a mirror through which we view ourselves. The stories we choose to remember and those we choose to forget reveal a great deal about who we are in the present. Yet history is not always a straightforward tale. It is often messy, filled with contradictions, ambiguities, and multiple perspectives. It is shaped by those who write it, and as we know, history has often been written by the victors. The stories of the defeated, the oppressed, and the marginalized are often left out or distorted. History speaks to us not only through the grand narratives of power, but also through the smaller, quieter stories of individuals and communities whose voices have been silenced or ignored. It is our responsibility to listen to these voices, to seek out the stories that have been left out, and to understand history in all its complexity. One of the most powerful ways history speaks to us is through its capacity to offer warnings. The rise and fall of empires, the cyclical nature of conflict, the mistakes of past generations, these are not just stories of the past, but cautionary tales. History warns us of the dangers of complacency, of the erosion of democratic institutions, of the consequences of unchecked power and the dehumanization of others. It speaks to us about the fragility of peace, about the cost of war, and about the dangers of nationalism, racism, and extremism. History reminds us that the future is not inevitable, It is shaped by the choices we make today. By studying the mistakes of the past, we can learn how to avoid repeating them. But history is not just about caution and reflection, it is also about inspiration. History speaks to us through the stories of those who overcame adversity, who faced impossible odds and yet managed to create change. It tells us of great leaders who inspired others with their vision, of movements that brought about social and political transformation, of individuals who, despite their circumstances, changed the course of history. These stories are not just about the achievements of a few extraordinary people, but also about the collective power of ordinary individuals who came together to demand justice, equality, and freedom. History speaks to us in the language of hope, showing us that change is possible, that progress can be made, and that the actions of individuals can have a profound impact on the world. Yet, as much as history speaks to us, it also remains elusive. The further back we go, the more difficult it becomes to hear its voice clearly. Records fade, evidence disappears, and the narratives we construct become increasingly distant from the reality of the past. But even in the face of this uncertainty, history continues to speak to us. It speaks to us through the remnants of past civilizations, the ruins of cities, the artifacts left behind, the stories passed down through oral traditions. It speaks to us through the work of historians, archaeologists, and scholars who dedicate their lives to piecing together the fragments of the past. It speaks to us in ways that are sometimes hidden, requiring patience and persistence to uncover, but it speaks nonetheless. In this way, history is not a static entity. It is dynamic, ever-evolving, and ever-relevant. The way we understand history changes over time, as new evidence is uncovered, as new perspectives are introduced, and as the world around us changes. The interpretation of history is never fixed. It is constantly shifting, allowing us to view the past in new and different ways. This is what makes history so powerful. It is a living, breathing entity that continues to shape our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. When we listen to history, we are not simply hearing the voices of those who lived before us. We are engaging in a conversation with the past, one that continues to evolve and inform our present. History speaks to us not as a distant, abstract concept, but as a dynamic, living force that shapes our lives, our societies, and our futures. It urges us to reflect on where we have come from, to understand where we are, and to consider where we are going. And in doing so, it helps us navigate the challenges and opportunities of the present, guiding us toward a future shaped by the lessons of the past. In conclusion, history speaks to us in ways that are complex, profound, and ever relevant. It teaches us, warns us, inspires us, and challenges us. It reminds us of our shared humanity and our capacity for both great good and great harm. It urges us to learn from the mistakes of the past, to build on the achievements of those who came before us, and to continue the work of creating a more just, compassionate, and equitable world. History speaks to us not as a distant, irrelevant past, but as a powerful force that continues to shape our lives and our futures. The question is not whether history speaks, but whether we are listening. This speech offers a comprehensive look at how history speaks, weaving through lessons, warnings, and inspiration drawn from historical events, figures, and movements. It invites the audience to reflect on the importance of history in understanding the present and shaping the future. If you need further elaboration or more content to reach the word count, let me know and I can expand on specific sections.